guys and gals, welcome to the Oxford Holy Club, a place where we ready ourselves to give an answer for the hope that's in us. We will also try to answer your questions, random questions from the interwebs, and have some fun too. So put some seatbelts on your ears because we're in for a wild ride. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host, Beard Man, and
the Bald Eagle,
and
oh man, what order are we going?
Who's next?
Cool Breeze.
There's so many people. There's no order.
We should have practiced.
I'm Matthew.
We should have practiced this before we put it out there for everybody.
And I'm Matthew.
Hello, Matthew.
Hi.
You've been on the podcast now a few times. Is it time that you get your own handle, your own podcast handle, a handle?
I don't know. It's not something I believe someone should pick for themselves. You know those kids in school that try and pitch their own nickname, and it always backfires. So I'm going to approve or disapprove of whatever nickname, but I can't be the one to concoct it. That is.
So you're going to hold on to veto rights, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Smart.
And it's tough because he's got the beard like Brad, but he's also got the hair like Lucas. So I mean, where are we going with this?
Hybrid.
I'd prefer, yeah.
Come to us.
Brucus.
Yeah.
Brutus.
We'll work on it.
Brutus. Okay.
Brutus.
Can we call you Brutus, please?
Yeah. That's fantastic, actually.
You could do a lot worse than Brutus, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I definitely misspelled Brutus. How do you spell Brutus?
So listen, that's fantastic because growing up, because my last name's Barber, my favorite wrestler, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, because he was Brutus the Barber. So this is
Beefcake?
This suit absolutely,
Brutus.
absolutely, and so this is so fitting. You guys are just magical.
So, if you're following us along in the live stream, which nobody is because the only followers we have on YouTube are Cool Breeze and the Bald Eagle. Brutus the Beefcake has not subscribed yet. But I'm going to be, we got a live chat going. And so if someone somehow stumbles upon this on YouTube, because it is legit live right now, feel free to chime in on our chat and we will answer what you're asking. Keep it appropriate. Having said that, I have all kinds of filters and things in place. So good luck. That's probably not how you want.
That sounds like a challenge.
I was just going to say, that's not the energy you want to come in with.
Challenge accepted.
Hey, put your phone down. People will know it's you. Fellas, if you do want to do me a favor while we're doing this, I'm gonna go through something here. But while I'm doing this next little thing about 5-star reviews, if you guys do want to go on the YouTube, see if we're streaming, if it's looking good, and try sending a chat and see if it comes up on our feed.
I don't have enough devices.
That's fine. That's okay. If we ever start doing sponsors again, if we get some money on this episode, we'll help you out. So, ladies and gentlemen, just before we get into the episode, I want to remind you right off the bat that you can reach out to us on our social medias. Oh, boy. Of course, we're live now. And if you're following on live stream, you'll see a little ticker on the bottom right of the screen that has the information for you. But for those that are listening with your ear holes, the information is simple. At Oxford Holy Club. And you can type that in on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to follow us. Also, if you do want to leave us a 1-minute message, whatever is on your mind, even your grocery list, you can do that through the link that's in the description in the episode. Now, we do say that if you'll leave us a 5-star review, we'll read it on the air. And guys, it might surprise you to know, it's been a while since we've got to do this, but we've got 2 to put up today. And so I'm going to read them for you, because that's what we said we would do. So the first one comes from Reverend R. McGlinchy. Definitely am butchering that, and I'm sorry, Reverend. But it says this: can't stop listening. Genuinely helping me stay positive in my pursuit of the life of holiness in this super crazy, easy to be negative about climate we are experiencing these days. Is there any holiness but relational Canadian joyous holiness? Well, here at the Oxford Holy Club, we say no, there isn't. No, Of course there is. But peace and thanks, sisters and brothers. Oh, and please send me the mystery cereal. Shout out to a few episodes back where we taste tested some cereal. Lucas, that was a hit. That was a hit. So. And then the next one comes from H. Tarrant, who, Matthew, you and I know who this is.
Yeah.
And H. Tarrant says, and then goes on to say, so good. Oh, and send me the mystery cereal, or tell me what it is so I can buy it here in the America. You know, I was enjoying H. Terrence so good up until it became demands about the cereal. So we
Seems
do
like
not
the cereal was a big hit.
we don't negotiate with.
It was worth the $18 in postage. I'm vindicated.
Yeah, it was. Matt, I'm assuming you remember the episode, having listened to it.
I don't listen to this.
If he's not in it, he don't listen.
That's the truth. How vain is that?
Well, it's something. Are you watching your? Oh,
Yeah. Oh, the chat's awesome.
is it working?
You did beautifully.
Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic!
I like it.
Good. I forgot to watch it.
I really want to try the filters though.
No, you don't. You're really. Hey, try doing something in all caps. If I remember correctly, I think I put something on that will block people that try to do all caps. Actually, I might not have. I was going to type a bunch
You
of.
really
A's.
have maxed out the filters.
I heart Brutus.
Oh no!
Ooh.
Look, there's me and all those A's. Anyway, so thank you, Reverend R. McGlinchey and H. Tarrant, for leaving those 5-star reviews on iTunes. We appreciate that, and don't forget that you can tell your friends about us and get them to leave that 5-star review. Nothing's better than sharing us with your friends, guys. We've never ever met like this. This is cool. The four of us together. Okay, what's happening here in the chat? Hey, good news. I can hide that. All right. We've never been here quite like this before, and I'm starting to regret it. Live chat may have been a mistake. But why don't we
Interacting with the listeners.
why don't we well, yeah, it sucks that we're the only ones right now, but
It's probably for the best for now.
fair
So we
enough.
get the kinks out of the system.
Why don't we catch up, guys? Let's not forget that we also have audio happening. So for people that are like, I didn't watch it, this is podcast poison.
Oh no way! What is he doing? That's crazy.
Oh, describe it for me. Oxford Holy Club coming in described audio. Anyway, guys, what's going on with your life? Last week, Andrew and I held down the fort while Lucas was AWOL, and never did in the last week tell us what took him away at the last moment. But we speculated.
I look forward to that episode. Would you like me to tell you, or?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, I was actually getting ready to do the episode, and then I got a text that says, like, our hockey draft is happening tonight.
my
And I thought it
word.
wasn't until the end of the month. Turns out it was then, and I rush out, and but it turns out it wasn't the draft. It was the thing that is picking the order of the draft, which I did quite well in. So I mean, I'm glad I was able to witness that. That was hosted by none other than Mr. Matthew Barber himself. He built his own thing where the ping pong balls fly around and like has the numbers and everything. It was pretty impressive.
My goodness. You also do hot sauces, don't you?
Oh man, let me tell you about my new mix. It's called habanero honey, and it's honestly the best sauce I've made yet. Just did it this past week, and it's delicious.
Okay.
By do hot sauce, you mean like make your own hot sauces?
Yeah, make my own hot sauces.
That is impressive.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
will. You know what? I will testify. They are good. He gave me a bottle quite a while ago now, but that my family liked it. Everybody that got a taste really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
What's the journey that you went on to come to the point where you decided to make your own hot sauce?
Well, I'll start at the beginning.
Yeah,
It's all
that-
good hot sauce stories begin.
Since we're live, and we've got all kinds of time. No,
Tight 40.
hon-
Tight
honestly,
40.
Yeah, honestly, what started? So I got a smoker, right? So then I started smoking all kinds of like different ribs and briskets and that kind of stuff. And so then, of course, you get into the sauces after that.
Of course.
And then
Smoking's a gateway to.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
yeah, to getting sauced. And then after that,
So many.
you just kind of start to say, oh, I wish it was a little more like this. I wish it was a little more like that. So I just said, you know what? I'm going for it. So I started making my own barbecue sauces. And I'll tell you what, my apple butter barbecue sauce, like
Beefcake Brutus is apple butter.
See, that's a time
Apple butter. His new name's Apple Butter.
There it
apple
is.
butter. Oh, I'll take apple butter too. But so then I was like, well, I want to do hot sauce, and so anyway, started doing hot sauces. And so anyway, next time I see you guys, I'll have a bottle of my new stuff for you. It is delicious. It's hot, but it's delicious.
Do you
I'm
have a label?
terrified and excited. 50.
Oh, absolutely. You know me well enough, Andrew. I have labels.
If the guy's got a ping pong machine thing for picking draft stuff, you know he's got labels for his hot sauce bottles.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so. Okay, so Lucas, we now know what's been up with you, and Matt, we're with you. Let's go to the top of this Brady Bunch of video things. Andrew, what's going on with you, buddy?
Well, I have a big announcement. And as you know, today I installed a dishwasher all by myself. Applause.
That is impressive. That is
Yeah.
because you have to wire that in yourself, don't you?
Yeah, and there's no water on the floor. We ran it. So
Impressive.
I will say that I am proud that I can do that, but I do not have the patience for it to do it as a profession.
Why was this kind of the test run? Were you thinking
What are you
about-
thinking? You was thinking about it.
Andrew's dishwasher repair.
Yeah, no, it was. I felt a lot of different emotions this evening, but it's done.
Hey, man, and you even sent us a picture, and the install looked good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
I
you're
love it,
confident
yeah.
when you send a picture of your dishwasher to your buddies. So,
yeah.
right? I mean, am I wrong?
Dishwasher.
So, fellas, the average listener may not realize that we all went to university around the same time and had a lot of adventures together, whether it was snowball fights that went all across the city of Moncton to couches that disappeared in the night. I mean, our own couches. We didn't take people's couches.
We didn't steal couches.
We didn't steal couches. Just all kinds of random things. And now every one of us, married, jobs, and everything else in between. And I'm curious. Actually, I'm not curious. Lucas was the one that was curious, and he tossed this in here about what we didn't see coming about being adults, where we're at now. We're all in our mid-30s, and what's it been like? Has there been anything that we didn't expect?
Who's going first? I'll go.
Thank you. Remember, we're now it's not only audio, it's live video, so no awkward pauses. Just jump at it.
Yeah. For me, and I think maybe this is what Lucas is getting at too, but just never actually feeling like an adult. You think you're gonna have that moment where you feel grown up or the age that you are,
Right.
but I just haven't had that yet. I still just feel like I'm. Even people that are the same age as me, I think that they are so much older than me.
Been there.
Yeah. And also, I'll throw in that I really never expected to be so envious of other adults and all the things that they have. That's my secret.
Like dishwashers.
Yeah. So that's why I got a dishwasher. I just needed it. But you know what I mean? Like, and especially in this age of like social media and things like that, and everyone's posting their perfect photos and stuff. It's that constant battle of not being envious of the things that other people have because you think because you're an adult you should have those things too.
Hey,
Good one.
absolutely. Anybody else want to jump on that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I didn't. Yeah, like I think the biggest thing for me is like I don't know. I think I teeter back and forth of like feeling like an adult and not like when I pay my bills and when I have
Sure.
to shovel my own driveway. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm an adult. But then the things that I didn't expect was all the different places your money has to go to, and things that like when we were in university, we would take our student loan and we would buy DVDs. You know what I mean? Like that's what we did.
Yeah.
Keep
So
Blockbuster
money-
alive.
My money was exchanged for something that I could hold in my hand. But now the majority of my money goes to RRSPs, which I'll not see until I'm 70 years old, which I doubt I'll even live to. It goes towards insurance, and you have to insure everything in your life. Like this thing, your house, you've got your car, you've got your health insurance, there's debt insurance, so that in case you die, your debt is insured. Like, and so for me, it's this whole idea of like, I'm putting all this money out, but it's only just so that if I'm dead, everyone else will enjoy life.
You look at the money coming in, you're like, oh, that's not bad, and then it just gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like what happened?
Yeah. So that's the biggest surprise for me, where the biggest adjustment. I mean, the kids thing and getting married thing, I agree. Like, there's all that adjustments, but there's nothing in the world to prepare you for that. Nice cat. But the idea of what giving money and receiving nothing in the moment, it's so empty.
For me, I think like the imposter syndrome, like I still feel like I don't feel like an adult, even though I have a job, I've got, all that stuff, but I don't, it hasn't clicked over. I don't know what it is. And then of course, I think another one was just the time not being my own. I knew I would be busier, but just like, especially with kids, it's just the fact that like someone's always got to be in charge of the kids, and either you're working, 3-to-1, or it's like 2-and-1, or whatever like the ratios are. But we're just starting to get to the age now, like Melissa and I and the kids were walking in the park yesterday, just tonight, and we can let the kids run 50 feet ahead, and we're like, they probably won't die, like if we let them go 50 feet away from us, whereas before it would have been like unheard of. And we're getting a little bit more freedom, and they're able to do more stuff, and there's less like diaper style accidents that I have to worry about, and we're just getting a taste of freedom again and not being totally exhausted. And the kids sleep through the night and stuff, that was a fun little adventure. But yeah, it's all that, like the time not being my own. I can't just be like, I want to go to do this. I can do it, but I kind of have to talk to my wife about it, and not to ask permission, but just to say like, hey, does that work with you? What is your schedule? Like, I have to plan a whole schedule out to just go and get, like, going to Costco to get groceries. I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna put in my earbuds, I'm gonna listen to a podcast. It's Lucas time, and if I'm really well behaved, I can have an ice cream cone. Like that is, I didn't see that coming as being exciting.
Huh. Okay, there's more to unpack with that, but we'll do that in some personal private counseling.
How about you, Brad? What surprised you about adulting?
How important sleep is. As a young adult in university, or as a teenager, right? It was nothing to go not to bed, and then as a young adult, you're in university and you sleep in and maybe don't go to your classes. Maybe you do. It's hard to know. You guys have no idea what my school was like. It was awesome. Anyway. But just how important it is to get a good night's rest. And the reason I know that is because of how tired I am all the time. If I don't, and how it affects everything. And so what surprised me is, our body's a temple, and how quickly the temple can fall to ruins if it's not taken care of properly. This temple, and I forget who said this, but I think it was from Community, not a sponsor, but it's like a doctor, and he's like, didn't anybody tell you it's a temple of doom or something like that, right? It's a temple of cheeseburgers. It's a temple of doom. It's built on cheeseburgers, something like that. So what I didn't see coming was how important sleep was, that my metabolism would all of a sudden reverse. Is that a thing? And that at some point, people look to you now as the adult. And I realized that I've realized it before, but at the Grand Canyon, when you get 50 some kids and there's people older than you and all that, and they're all like, okay, you're the adult. And I'm like, wait, somebody else, please? Who wants to be the adult here? I sure don't, but you got to be. So that was kind of some of the stuff that I didn't see coming. I don't feel like an adult. There are moments when you have to, you got to deal with stuff, but I still feel, I don't know.
Actually, I do want to add another one. And I think I talked to Matt. I think I talked to you about this one time, and I don't think it seemed to really be a problem for you. But when I'm trying to lead someone who is older than me, I feel weird. Like I'm telling an adult what to do, and I'm not an adult. You know what I mean? Like that whole thing. And in my job, because I am the boss sometimes, it's,
yep.
And I'm never like a jerk about it or anything, but I'm always like, could you please do this if you don't mind, sir? To someone who's older than me, ask them to do stuff, or someone who's been doing teaching longer than me or whatever. That one is a tricky one. I still feel like I'm not a kid. I just it doesn't feel like it's my place to say it or whatever, but I'm working on that.
Yeah, I take the opposite approach. I remember I remind all the older people that I'm the one that's young and vibrant, and they're out of touch, and they need to follow where I go. That's what you need to start doing.
It must be
I
fun.
start making my own like hot sauces and getting some, yeah, that's what I need to do.
You strike me more as a crocheter than a hot sauce maker.
Oh, Lucas, it's time for you to take charge.
Am I doing the hypothetical?
This one's yes.
All right. So the hypothetical for this week is: if you could erase one thing from existence, even the memory of that thing, what would it be? And
So
we'll start with
easy, so easy. I'm not a country music fan, but all country music produced after 1999. If we could completely eliminate that and have it wiped from our memory, I think the world would probably be a better place. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is it just too much in going into rock, or what's the deal?
Oh, I wish. No, like that's what country music used to be. It was what birthed a lot of rock music, but no. I mean, prime example is the Lewis Taylor Swift album. Doesn't sound anything like country music, and the only reason I know that is because my wife.
Yeah, whatever.
But I mean, it all just sounds like pop music now, and it's all garbage. Like you turn into the pop, you tune into the pop station now, and I honestly like when Erin's in the car with me, we're driving. She turns it to the pop station, and it sounds and feels like one long song from the time I get in the car until the time I get out, and it's people who are artists that are country, but it's not country, and then you get these old town road guys that really blur the lines, and it's just all music. Because let's look at the 90s. Of course, the 60s, 70s, that's a given. Anybody can love that country music. But you look at the 90s, right? Who are we talking about? Because we all listened to it because our parents had the tapes. We're talking about
Alan
Jackson, Garth Brooks, Billy Ray,
Dwight Yoakam.
Oh yeah, inside the pocket of a clown.
Careful.
Is that not suitable? I don't know. I don't even know what that song means.
No,
he's afraid of copyright.
I'm afraid of getting taken down on copyright.
Oh, I know Dwight listens.
That's all he does all day.
No, he's here. He's on right now.
Oh my goodness.
Did you know Dwight Yoakam's actually been doing like a ton of acting lately?
Yeah, I've seen him in a couple things.
Yeah, like he's always like a crazy killer in like every show I see him.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Dwight Yoakam, who'd have thought? But anyway, yeah. So that's my pick. Country music after 1999.
I had something and then I forgot it and then I remembered something different. So if it's all right, I want to go before I lose it.
Go.
All of these quote unquote Fortnite dances, because now I don't understand how people communicate anymore. I
just tried to dab and I don't think I did it.
This was when I knew it was time to get out of youth ministry. When everybody started expressing their emotion through Fortnite dances. And it's like, how you feeling today? And they start flossing. I'm like, okay. And
be a translator to go around with you.
Right. And they're like, I'm feeling backpack kid flossing on Orange Justice. And I'm like, excuse me? What does that mean? So if I could erase one thing from existence, it would be all Fortnite dances. And those Fortnite dances, there's all kinds of backstories with those and how they were stolen and all the legal stuff that came with that. But I want them gone, and I don't even want to remember that they existed. If the Men in Black could just in one instance, and I'm sorry, not the new ones. I want Tommy Lee Jones to come in and do that. That would be cool with me.
There you go, Andrew. How about you?
Right. So I was trying to think of like a terrible season of a show that I wanted to erase, but just like all the shows I watch too much to to hate on them.
Dishwashers.
So I am going to single out a movie that it's almost basically gone from my memory anyways, but I watched The Tree of Life one time.
Oh, buddy.
I've never.
Oh yeah, I remember that movie.
I've never heard of that.
That's the Brad Pitt movie, right?
I thought it had Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, that's who I remember in it.
What's it called?
Blockbuster Days, Tree of Life. IMDb, hit it up.
I'm looking at it now. I think it's Brad Pitt.
No. Anyways,
no.
It was not good. I don't understand anything that happened in that movie.
It was weird.
I would take that. I would get rid of that. Easy.
Okay. And Lucas, yourself.
I couldn't think of one. Like, I mean, I was like, I don't know, Hitler, but that seems like kind of a cop out. But then anything that's not Hitler seems like it's a waste. It's funny that you said like the dances for Fortnite because, like dabbing and flossing as working in the education field, I see a lot of it, and I just like it makes me like mad and sad at the same time. It kind of grosses me out when I see it. I was like, oh no. And I'm trying to think of like what we did at that age, what stupid thing that adults are rolling their eyes at. I don't remember us doing
tearaway pants.
Tearaway pants. I saw a kid wearing tearaway pants that looked like they were new, not vintage, the other day, and I was like, oh, they're back.
We did tearaway pants.
Grade 10.
And the pant legs that were, I remember having a pair of pants that had 50-inch circumference pant legs. Yeah, that's how we expressed ourselves.
Grade 10.
Okay.
Grade 10, I got a pair of tearaway pants. They weren't Adidas because they only had 2 stripes on them.
Right.
They were like
Champion.
I think it was Zeller's brand.
But you did call tearaway pants.
Nobody told me, of course, because I bought them in the summer.
Right.
And so I wasn't like I was bought them in school when I knew how it all worked, but nobody told me you should wear shorts under them. So we're in grade 10. I'm walking down the hall, and I don't even know who it was, and off come my pants right in the middle of the hallway.
As like kids in high school and middle school that had so much to risk, why did we wear pants that you could tear off?
Yeah, exactly.
I know. Here's another one. Do you guys remember this? This is from a while back. Do you remember lock-up jeans?
I've heard of them, but I've never actually seen them.
No idea.
I owned a pair.
Really?
It was, yeah, I remember it because I think it was in like late elementary for me when they would have come out. And
I think they're like an 80s thing or early 90s or something.
It was a tiny padlock that instead of a button on the front of your jeans, it was just like a latch that you put the padlock in and lock, and there was a chain. There was a chain went from that to your first belt loop with the key on it, and you just brought the key over.
What could go wrong?
You had to unlock your pants, and like I would like this was before we were even in the church, so I know it wasn't some type of like chastity
Right.
like thing that my folks were doing. They were just like, yeah, it was just. That was the cool thing. Like
that was the precursor to escape rooms.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, but there was kids who would wet their pants in grade 6 because they couldn't get the lock off in time. Yeah,
I'm so concerned with doing live stream.
By the way, you morons! It was Brad Pitt. It was not Hugh Jackman. Was not in that movie.
What am I thinking about? Did you Google it?
I IMDb'd it. Yeah,
not a sponsor.
It's Brad Pitt, Sean Penn, Jessica Chastain. Yeah, and it was the weirdest movie I've ever watched in my life.
Well, let's move on or let's continue to talk about different movies. And there's a question that's coming in from Yahoo that they have a question about a movie. It says this. What's the best program to copy and paste the entire B-movie script into a photo? Fellas, have you ever asked this question? Or anything kind of like it?
I don't even understand this question. I like, what's up with the photo? Why the B-movie? Is it a recent Yahoo? Do you remember that? Or is it like from 10 years ago?
No, this is recent. The B-movie is like a cult classic Jerry Seinfeld.
I just watched the 30 Rock where they kept talking about it. So, I mean, it feels recent to me, but it was like 12 years ago or more.
Oh, absolutely. And let's not even talk about how wrong they were in their portrayal of bees in their natural habitat. But moving beyond that, we got somebody coming in and changing our notes here.
You got too many spaces. You're too wild with the spaces. I want to tighten it up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Anonymous Camel.
You're
Anonymous Camel.
What? You changed my name?
Oh, good grief! How do people do that? Listeners at home that can't see what's happening, we share a Google Doc so that we can all see the notes and edit them in real time. And normally it would say the name of who is editing, and we've color-coded things to easily see who's who. But all of a sudden, someone called Anonymous Camel was in our notes changing things, and no one knew who it was. It is, in fact, Lucas, the bald eagle, or Anonymous Camel, as his new moniker is.
I didn't change it to that, so somebody else had to.
Okay, wasn't me. So, guys, just maybe to help us out here, there are some answers to this question. User Nico Chara, I definitely didn't pronounce that right, but is that a wrestler too? Was there a wrestler named that Chara? No, Matt. Help me.
Hockey player.
Oh yeah, that's why. I don't pay attention to either.
You just lost your Canadian citizenship.
They say whichever way you do it, it's probably going to look like a gray blob afterwards. So what they're thinking, or what I think they're thinking, is that someone wants to get the entire script, all the words, and compress it into the size of a photo. Why would they want to do that, guys? I got nothing here.
All I can think of is, did you guys ever do typing class, which probably did not last much longer after I was in school? And here's what they would do. They taught us how to type, which did not take that long, on typewriters. And then they would give you these like where basically it was like, do 3 X's and then do a line and then do 4 X's and 10 spaces and 4 X's. And by the time you were done, you built a picture out of X's and spaces. And that's all I could think about when I think of this. And it was the weirdest thing ever. And I don't know why they made us do it. Well, to kill time in a typing class in the year 1999.
Do you think that if that were to actually happen, maybe it'd be like a picture of Jerry?
That would be pretty awesome.
Thumbs up with a little caption. What's the deal with? And fill in whatever. Matt, you seem to have something. You were really chomping at the bit there to get going.
Yeah. Have you ever seen those? I forget if it's like Disney or something like that, where it's it's like a quilt or a poster, and it's all the no, that's not exactly.
Is it like pictures of pictures?
No. Pictures? It's like what it is. It's like a whole book, but it's all the lettering is all just obviously not formatted page at a time, but it's all on one poster, and it's a whole book, but it's made to look like something. Have you ever seen those?
No, I've never seen that.
Well, based off your explanation, I have no sweet clue what you're talking about.
Just a second. I'm going to show you.
Andrew, help. We got another person that says this from user Wiggity Y says, all you got to do is add the spaces in just right, and you can make the Mona Lisa. So I think they're tracking with what you're saying, Lucas, is that you do
Making
this,
the picture
you do
from
this
the
right.
words.
Do you guys ever hear the Bible codes, that there's hidden messages in the Bible? Do you think that that's what's going on, that they're trying to string this all together because there's hidden messages in the B movie?
Maybe. Check this out. Look.
Oh, okay. For those that are okay.
So this
looks great, Nana.
To the listener,
so this is Alice in Wonderland, the whole book on a poster.
That is kind of neat.
Well,
I like that.
See?
Now,
if I was an English major, I would have one of those.
For some reason, our audio kicked off in recording, but that's all right. We'll pick it up. Guys, that was a dumb question. I'm just saying.
I'm glad you said it.
Well, Andrew, I'm sorry. We didn't toss to you.
Okay. Here's my answer. The movie I was thinking about earlier was The Fountain.
Oh, my soul. That has nothing to do with this.
Me too. That's what I'm thinking of. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but have you guys watched The Tree of Life?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. So,
don't or do?
No, don't. Well, so Aaron and I watched it, but it was almost as though it hypnotized us, because like every 5 minutes you were like, we got to turn this garbage off. Like this doesn't even make any sense. This movie. yet we watched all 2 hours of it. And like it was just filled with like random shots of Brad Pitt's life with Jessica Chastain, but then interrupted with like pictures of space and intergalactic stuff. But it wasn't a space movie. I don't know.
Okay.
What
Actually,
happened to
you know
Melissa
what?
and I one time
Go watch
watching
it.
Stewart?
Go watch it.
Well, that seems like a good segue for us to move on. Now, normally at this point, I would introduce a not a sponsor segment, but that would be a little awkward to do in the podcast or on live because I don't think I could really get away with that quite the same way that I can do with audio. So if you're listening by audio, then we're going to move right into that. For those that are watching via video, I'll be doing that in post later. What we're going to move into, yes, Matt, we see you have a phone.
Oh, this was all the Harry Potter books. Lucas, you're into that.
Never read them, but I mean it's neat.
As if.
No. Hey, I've admitted to reading Star Trek novels, so I would admit to Harry Potter. Just haven't done it.
I'm pretty sure I can mute just their audio and I can continue to talk. So what's going to happen here is this. Hey, fellas, how y'all doing? Ah, shoot, I can still hear you all. So what we're going to move into now, guys, is instead of questions that we can't answer, it's questions that Christians are asking, and there's a list of 10 questions that I'm going off of, and this week we're on number 3, and we're questions that Christians often come up with and ask, and I think if we'd all be honest, we've probably all asked this specific question time and time again. The question is this: how can I be sure of my salvation? So the person that's asking the question, they want to know what kind of confidence can they have that they're actually saved. And I see that we've made some notes in here. We don't have to go in any order if you do want to jump in. But Matt, I just want to say it out loud so that I don't forget it. I would like to take a minute with you at some point during this and talk about testimonies, and it will make sense. Do you want to just jump into it with me?
Sure.
We'll see how it goes. Well, really quickly, I want to go through what I had written because then I want to segue into what I was thinking with you. How can you be sure of your salvation? One of the things that I thought of, guys, was number one, that you remember a time when you actually asked Jesus into your life. That might seem like a no-brainer, but it would seem, it seems to me that something like that, even like I was 6. Matt, how old were you?
It was later. I think I was like 15.
Lucas, how about you?
I was 6 as well.
Andrew?
32.
Okay, we have an issue.
12.
12. But we remember a specific time where we asked Jesus to come into our life. Now, I don't know what your guys' story is like. I know there have been times where I'm like, Lord, I'm not really sure that I am saved. And I would have asked probably again, especially as a teenager, because that was just a weird time.
No. When you're a teenager, it's easy because every summer you went to the altar at camp and accepted Jesus.
Yeah.
So
that's a safety one right there.
As long as it carried over 12 months, you were good.
Right. The other thing was this, and this comes out of Romans 8:16. It says, the Spirit, meaning the Holy Spirit, himself bears witness with our spirit that we are children of God. Let me put that in my words. When you become a Christian, the Holy Spirit takes residence in you, lives in you, and he talks to you and tells you that you are saved, that you're God's child. And so when the world wants to tell you that you're not, there's something inside you that's like, no, I'm God's child. The Holy Spirit himself will confirm for you that you are saved. And I heard recently on a different podcast, they were talking, because someone put the question in, it was kind of worded the same about how do I know, and how do I know if I've lost it, or how do I know if I'm callous and all this. And one of the answers they gave was the fact that you even care to ask shows that you actually care about your faith and that you haven't lost it, type of thing. I'm going to just toss that out to see what you think about that, gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, I think that concern for your salvation and the fact that you're being your thoughts are in that direction it's a positive sign.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then there comes the point too where, I mean, kind of my idea of it too is that there's the indwelling of the Holy Spirit, which you can't put into words how he confirms that
Right.
in you, but there's a peace and there's a joy that is there. There's a change that happens in an individual's life. Even if they were a good person, even if they were a very positive, happy go lucky person, there's still an active change in their life when the Holy Spirit is accepted. And part of that, and it's again, it's not done by works, it's completely by our faith in Christ and what he's done, but there is the fruits of that also which display in our lives, right?
Right. I'm going to jump on that just for a second because this kind of segues into what I wanted to ask. I remember as a teenager, like one of the ways that I know I'm a child of God is because of the transformation that took place in my life when I was dealing with different addictions and things that I couldn't control, but God helped me with. And so when I would give a testimony, and today when I give a testimony about what God's done in my life, I talk about drug addiction. I talk about drinking. I talk about relational issues. I talk like those things come up in my testimony as things that God saved me from. But I remember, and I'm not sure if you remember this, but I remember there was a time and we were talking about testimonies and you made the comment that you didn't feel like you had much of a testimony because you hadn't gone through all those things that others had. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. For a long time. Because here you are growing up where you're seeing transformations of people's lives, right?
right.
Where there's been a change. And oftentimes, the ones that get the most attention when you're talking testimonies are the ones where it's like, I was homeless and I was a prostitute and I was a drug addict and so you look at that and you think like, wow, God moved and what a testimony. And then you look at me where it's just like, okay, well, I was a good kid.
I my mom sometimes, and then I turn my
not even like you're not even. I don't even think I was a rude kid. And so you're just like the change. The before and the after aren't nearly as contrasted, and so you can look at it and say, well, I guess that's a boring story. You know what I mean? But one of the things that again I've come to understand, especially in my work where I work at a faith-based rehab. And so, of course, I'm seeing these transformations all the time, and they are dramatic transformations. But it's still a reminder for me that that even I've changed the way I'm thinking. Where at one point it's like, wow, look at what God had saved you from. But more and more, I'm leaning in the direction of no, look what God saved you through, and it's because of certain things, certain people at times in your life where God had intervened. This whole idea of prevenient grace, this idea that even when we didn't know him, he was working for our good. And so, you pile that on top to us having the faith and accepting him and knowing him and growing in him. Then again, I come back to this idea of the fruit being on display.
Right.
That, yeah, I can look back and say, you know what? Yeah, maybe I was a good guy, but it wasn't until God got a hold of my life that I was in his will. And it was about being much more than just about being good. It was about being faithful.
Right. And thank you, Matt. You hit what I was hoping to get. Because I think that there are people that grow up, because I where I hear this the most, people that have grown up in church their whole life that haven't rebelled, haven't acted out. And they're like, they don't see that contrast in their life of, okay, well, I've accepted Jesus, but nothing really changed.
Yeah.
Well, you start to see the fruit of that. And guys, Matt and I have talked. What do you guys think?
Well, I understand that. I used to have, it sounds silly, but like testimony envy sometimes because you go to church and everyone has these like blockbuster testimonies that are just, not a dry eye in the house and like, well, mine's not that exciting and all that stuff. But, I've had people who've had those like, wild testimonies be like, no, I wish I didn't have this testimony. And it's awesome that you didn't have to go through this. And it just kind of speaks to the blessing of, God blessing you, but also like your parents raising you in a certain way and that sort of thing. Like you've there's a lot of ways it can go wrong, and it didn't. And I might have looked good on the outside, but I wasn't good. And that
Right.
transformation is happening on the inside. Whereas someone who's had a rougher life or a rougher story, you see it on the outside, like their internal transformation has had a huge outward kind of display, like the fruits, like Barbara was saying. But with us, it's we looked okay, but we know that we weren't, and then we're starting to change the inside, not just the outside, I guess.
Thanks, man. Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of how can you be sure of your salvation, it's simple and easy enough to say, but it comes down to faith. Faith in what the Bible says is true.
Yeah.
And I just kind of thought, it's a cliche verse to say, but it's so cliche because it's so important and meaningful. But John 3:16, for God so loved the world, He gave His only Son, so whoever believes in Him shall not perish but have eternal life. And if you have faith that that's true, that's all you can really rely on is in believing in that and hoping for that.
Absolutely.
And one other point too is just the fact that sometimes when people are doubting, it's because they think like, well, you don't know what I've done, you don't know how bad
Yeah.
I've been, or whatever, right? Like that's the kind of the thought that cycles through their brain. And when you're doing that, essentially what you're saying, when you flip it, you're saying Jesus isn't good enough to take away my sin. Jesus isn't powerful enough. And when you say that, it sounds wrong real quick. And then you're like, well, no, I'm not saying that. It's like, well, no, that is what you're saying, because you're saying He doesn't have that. So it's a lot easier to doubt ourselves than it is to doubt Jesus. But you just have to, if that's the particular reason why you're doubting, is just like, well, I don't know. He doesn't know this, that, and the other thing. Well, no, He does. And He took care of it. Like you're putting your faith in Jesus, not in your ability to be good or to act right or that sort of thing. So to me, that's one that you hear a lot, is like, oh, you don't know my past. Well, no, I don't have to.
Do you think we've created a culture that makes it harder to be sure of something like this? Let me explain what I mean by that. It used to be enough, and I would hear the sayings, God said it, I believe it, that settles it. Mm-hmm. Which I don't hear a whole lot of that. I hear, how can I be sure? Well, a sureness, there's kind of a truth in that, and I wonder if people find that harder today than maybe they used to. Like, so for instance, what I mean is we go a lot off of emotion sometimes. How I feel in the moment, that is quote unquote truth, but that's not the case. Our emotions, your emotions betray you, Luke. Star Wars, not a sponsor. But our emotions can lead us in a different direction, and we need to be able to look, if I don't feel it right now, maybe I don't feel His presence, but Scripture tells me that He's there, which means He's there, whether I feel it in that moment or not. So I'm not sure if I'm making the connect the way I'm hoping to. We have in this postmodern culture right now a hard time trying to come to truth and people being sure of things, and I wonder today if this question is harder to answer for people than it used to be.
I think absolutely it is, for a number of reasons. I mean, the popularity of universalism and all of this kind of stuff is one big part of it. The other part of it too, not that we're going to discuss this, but I mean, the way that religion has been politicized lately, sure. You know what I mean? And we're not going to get into it, but the whole idea that, well, if I'm a Christian, then I believe in my right for this, 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 and this, and I have to vote for this. And so, I mean, we're up here in Canada, so it's not as applicable, but I would challenge to say we're not that many steps off where there's a lot of Christians across this country that say, oh, well, I'm Christian, so I have to vote for this party.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what I mean? Whereas I look at these parties and I say, I don't know. There's more that I probably don't align with than I do when it comes to some of these things. But I mean, yeah, and the influence of the United States right now, of course, and all that rigmarole about how really the religion or really evangelicalism has been so politicized, and there's no separation in the two, which I believe there absolutely has to be. Then yeah, it's confusing and people don't know where to land. And at the end of the day, I honestly think all of this is going to turn out to be beneficial in the long run, because it's going to force people's hands when the time comes in order to really sit down and define what is my relationship with Christ and what does it really mean and stand for, and see how that aligns with every other part of your life. And so,
you know what's interesting? This question almost feels like it could be bred out of complacency.
yeah,
We all know people. We've been on mission trips where it's life or death. So you tell me they're not sure of their salvation.
yeah,
Right. And then I get to sit in my office and ponder, man, am I really sure? I'm not feeling it today. And so I wonder if maybe there's some of that comes from this as well. And Matt, you're right. And you can look historically, the church has thrived the most under persecution.
Yeah.
And no one likes to say it. No one wants persecution, but you look where the church is growing the most. The church in North America is in decline because we're all getting fat, sitting in our chairs, being complacent and going, well, I can just pray for forgiveness for that tomorrow.
Yeah. But you look at China, who over the last 15 years has absolutely exploded.
Right.
And it's not comfortable to be a Christian there.
No.
Absolutely not. How can I be sure of my salvation? Maybe move to China. See how you do.
Move to China.
Boom, done, answered.
Done. Answered. We should have just started with that.
No, if we moved to China, we would all tell them how they should be doing church.
Oh, yeah.
And then it would just all fall apart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Church of the Nazarene right now is going through something where they're redefining what church means and what constitutes a quote unquote church, which when I first heard that a few years ago, I was like, well, that's an easy answer, guys. Put a steeple on it and some altars at the front and take up an offering. Boom, you got a church. And that's not the case. And I know that. And I knew that then. But I think that I'm encouraged by the fact that we're redefining what it means. So like different types of ministries are the church. And anyway, just kind of in response to what you said about if we went to China, we'd be like, hey, you need a cement foundation and you need these walls. And if you don't get stained glass, then it doesn't count. And right. And that's just not the case. So our answer, are we all in agreement? Move to China.
Done.
Okay.
Yep.
I feel like I'd stand out like a sore thumb out there.
I think we all would blend in real well.
Oh, dear. Guys, we have just a couple of things to do before we get off of this podcast. And based on our time, I would normally skip over this and move. But I just feel like we're uniquely gifted today to take this question. It comes from Yahoo, as all good questions do. When bald people wash their faces, how far up do they go? For those that are people must be so pumped. Well, it's just the four of us that are looking on YouTube right now. But at some point in the archives, people will look at this video and go, "Now I understand."
Yeah,
there's some top shine going on. Well, let me take the first kick at the can here, and I'll tell you what my current procedure is. Now, I'm
it's
not
a procedure.
I'm not. Well, I gave it some thought because right now, I mean, I'm bald, but I'm not bald, as in like cue ball. So I have hair to work with, not as much as I'd like, but enough to shampoo.
No, I think you're grasping at straws, bud. Like,
I think I could get away with just soaping it up, just Lever 2000 or Zest or whatever up there.
Not a sponsor.
But here's my current procedure is I basically soap up to like nose level because here's the reason I don't want to get it like in my eyes.
Where do you start?
My toes.
Okay.
And we're not going to get into the details and the logistics there, but I'll tell you that I go up to here because I don't want to get in my eyes, and then I get all that done, and then I shampoo, even though I probably wouldn't have to. For example, if I was using a body wash, especially, I mean, there's probably not really a whole lot of difference between shampoo and soap anyway. I mean, maybe it's a little smoother or something, which doesn't really matter at my length.
Stop
but
ignoring me.
This part of you is body now, not hair. It's
Oh,
body.
You want me to shampoo the sides and then go up through the center like a skunk?
You ignored the center. You ignored the center. You washed up to the nose, and then you avoided the eyes and all of this, and you went like this and said, "Job well done."
Yeah.
What is happening here? That's why you're bald.
No,
there.
sorry. Like I got it. Yeah, like up to here. Although I don't get it super close to my eyeballs.
How old are you?
What about up here?
You guys wash your eyelids?
Yes.
Of course.
You just close your eyeballs.
Okay. So Lucas. All right. I'm gonna listen. We do it completely opposite. Okay. So here's how I do it. Okay.
Oh, he's moving the camera.
We're getting a full body shot.
You go from toes to head, right? But this is where I'm at. My hair is relatively short.
Yep.
Because I keep it shaved down, right? Okay.
Smart.
So essentially, I start with, and I use the Dove for Men 3-in-1, and you start at the top for a lot of different reasons, which we don't have time for. But you start at the top, and with the amount of hair that I have, it essentially works like a loofah, where you can just you lather it, and it gets everything really sudsy. Okay.
Yeah.
This is what
I like that.
for me every morning. Okay. Shampoo. Scrub, face like this, Lucas. Beard, and then I go back to my head, armpits like this.
Yeah.
Then I go back to my head,
and then
you've lost me
the
now.
rest of my body.
You can't go back to your head after armpits.
Thank you. After armpits, it's a rinse. It's a rinse.
What do you think the shampoo's doing?
Well, let's ask Andrew and find out, because I'm terrified if we let you continue.
I don't have an opinion. I'm not qualified to answer those questions.
That's right.
Although I'm on my way. I'm better off than Lucas.
Yeah, we call
Not in denial.
Yeah,
it's an intervention.
We call you the hopeless romantic, where you're just really holding on for good news.
I don't condition anymore. I mean, that's
what would you condition?
Well, I know. I get it. Maybe it is. It's funny though, because when I go to my in-laws' house, they have this one body wash that I really like the smell of. It's like a men's body wash that they've had there for 10 years, because I think I'm the only one who uses it when I visit.
You use someone else's body wash?
No, it's my body wash, because I'm the only one who uses it. It's like it's in the guest bathroom.
If I didn't buy it, I don't trust it.
Yeah.
I do trust my in-laws, but anyway, that's what that is actually. I think I use your method. Is I start from the top, and I like the smell so much, I do the whole kit and caboodle.
Oh wow! He's still shaking his head about the body wash.
I will say this: I have twice now lived as a bald man, where it was shaved clean off, and all I did, guys, was soap in. Actually, I have a brush, so soap the brush, scrub the face right up and over.
Okay, I got two questions about this.
Yes.
One, do any of you own a back brush scrub thing?
Yes.
Like in a cartoon?
Well, how do you wash your back?
With my back brush.
Okay, but if you don't have a back brush, how do you wash your back?
With a face cloth in my hands.
I do as far down. There's definitely an area I'm not getting, but I think the runoff will get it.
Yeah, that's how I treat. Yeah,
we gotta move. We gotta move.
Which is, by the way, that's also how I clean my eyelids.
Oh, I have a second question.
By osmosis,
my second question.
Not osmosis. What is it? Is it osmosis?
No,
no. Osmosis. It's like the same reason I don't wash my feet, because my feet are in the water and soap the longest of any part of my body. Right.
Yep. Fun fact.
This is all
one day
incorrect.
in the summer, when you're wearing like sandals and flip flops all day, your feet get like gnarly, right?
How do I know you?
I was like, oh man, my feet are filthy. You know what? I better actually get down there and clean them. Yeah. So then I soaped the bottoms of my feet.
Yeah.
Didn't wipe out. Almost died, but that would have been a bad way to go.
Okay, here's my last question is this. I know most of us have beards, but you still have to keep them tidy, right?
Sure.
Do you shave in the shower?
Mine's pretty small.
I go to a hairdresser once a month, and he takes care of it, and I don't touch it again until I go back.
You just let your beard go all month?
Yeah.
Like you don't clean up your cheeks or neck?
No.
That's disgusting.
I will. I will take a razor and get close, but I don't like for getting right in. I wait until I'm out of the shower. But for like the neck,
Yeah,
and
I get that.
along here, and I don't do the cheeks in the shower, because the last thing you want is you go right down. Guys, I can't believe we spent that much time on that one. I thought that would be just up and done kind of thing. So here's what I want to do to try to end this thing. And I'm not sure how it's going to go, but if this can work, I would be extremely excited to do this on the regular. There's a card game called Super Fight, which is not a sponsor, but we're open to that. And basically the way it works is you draw cards at random, and you get a card that is a specific person, an animal, something like that, and then the next cards that you get are their abilities, and then you're supposed to fight with an opponent who has done the same thing. So they're always very random, and then you have to have judges to decide who actually wins in the fight. And so I've randomized the list of things, and then I sent you guys and asked you to pick a number at random, which was probably confusing. And
yours seems pretty overpowered. I'm gonna say I'm getting it out there.
I almost videotaped me doing it just so that you knew I did it fairly.
Okay.
But I did do it fairly, and so I'm gonna go. How about we do this? Because I feel like it's better if we say our things ourselves and take ownership of it. So I, Brad, am the Loch Ness monster that was.
Well, who's judging this thing?
Well, hold on. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna read off who we are. I'm going to tell you who's fighting, and the two that are not fighting become the judges.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
Fair.
I'm down.
Okay.
All
right. If this takes off, I'm going to there's a I don't want to say DLC, but there's an expansion pack to this called Dungeon Expansion or something like that, and basically we all work together to try to get through a dungeon scenario, and that could be fun. Anyway, this is going to turn into a D&D podcast somehow.
Oh, I'm out.
Oh, he's gone. He was literally out. Yeah.
Anyway, I, Brad, am the Loch Ness monster that was bitten by a radioactive grizzly bear and is riding a nuclear missile.
Overpowered.
Well, what are you?
I'm an Amazon warrior, a princess, I assume.
Yeah.
Armed with a Gatling gun and also armed with a machete. Hey, I've got a machete. So don't mess with me.
Listen, stop complaining, because I would take your person any day. I am a water buffalo with flaming hands, and I'm wrapped in toilet paper.
Question: are you an actual water buffalo who also has flaming hands, or instead of hooves, you have flaming hands?
He has flaming hands, but he's wrapped in toilet paper.
I have two.
So he's actually a flaming water buffalo.
He's actually dead. That's what he is. He's already dead.
Oh, well, that was easy. I guess Andrew's the first judge.
I call Andrew first round. I genuinely think I got the best one. I'm an army of skeletons that has cannons instead of hands, and I shoot lasers out of my ears.
No, it's terrible.
Oh,
you're gonna lose.
So
my argument is ironclad.
So what I've done, guys, is I've gone to Google and typed in to roll a 4-sided die, and the people that are going first are 3 and 2, or you may know it as 2 and 3.
So Cena and the water buffalo.
So what you guys have to do now is come up with an argument for why you would win in the fight, and Matt and I in about 30 seconds, because this is being recorded and is live and podcasting. We have to make a decision. So
I'll jump right into it while Andrew thinks about it. So I'm Xena Warrior Princess with my Gatling gun and a machete. Machete, I don't really need that. So Water Buffalo, he has flaming hands, which are dangerous at close range, but not at long range. A Gatling gun is pretty deadly at long range, and I think I could just Gatling gun this Water Buffalo to death if he doesn't die from his toilet paper fire first.
Okay.
So I imagine that my flaming, like I could shoot flames out of my hands. Can I have that liberty?
A water buffalo with flaming hands and is wrapped in toilet paper. Man,
Didn't say flame shooting hands.
Well, then I would just live underwater and I'd never come up. And eventually you die of old age.
Water buffalo don't live underwater.
No.
Oh, man,
Water
I should have
buffalo.
researched water buffalo.
everybody wants a water buffalo. Anyway,
Mine is fast.
yours is slow.
All right, judges.
Well, I don't know that there was really any arguing. I think
No, like
I think Andrew resigned to death,
yeah.
and Lucas. Do you got something here?
No, I don't. I complained to you weeks ago about my guy, but
You sure did.
I didn't read it because I thought we were supposed to like get it off the cuff.
Well, yeah. Ideally, you're supposed to get it off the cuff and go with it. But
you still did better than Andrew, so don't worry about it. This
so-
is Andrew with 2 weeks worth of research.
I didn't.
I thought the water buffalo were like aquatic
It's
animals.
seahorses. It's not a seahorse.
Leave
all
me
right.
alone.
So we are. I'm assuming we're saying Lucas is moving on.
Oh, 110%.
Rigged.
Well,
Rigged. This game's rigged.
I rolled the die, and it is Matt versus Lucas now.
I vote Lucas.
Go ahead, fellas.
Okay, well, I'll come out of the gate on this one. First of all, I'm going to tell you why my defense is so strong. First of all, I'm an army of skeletons, okay? Which means there are multiples of me, hundreds of me. The other thing is I will not experience any flesh wounds from your gun or your machete because I have no flesh. The bone is the actual strongest part of the body. Therefore, it's essentially impenetrable when it comes to any of the devices.
That's why no one's ever broken one before.
Listen. So here's the idea, right? Not only do I have the advantage of having a much further distance than you do, but I'm also dealing with a larger ammunition in the cannon, which could create a lot of damage. On top of that, though, I have peripheral, not vision, peripheral attacks because lasers are coming from my ears as I shoot cannons out of my hands. And therefore, Mrs. Warrior Princess, you really don't even stand a chance. You have zero defense.
I'm very excited for this, actually. So here's how I picture it. So you have the army of shambling skeletons coming towards me, Xena Warrior Princess, with my Gatling gun. I start spinning up the Gatling gun.
Whoa. We're not coming towards you. We've got cannons and lasers. We don't need to get up in your
Okay, so you're standing there, and all of a sudden, at once, you fire your cannons and
we're
fire
not standing still.
Your ear lasers.
We are juking and jiving.
Okay, so let's say you have 1,000 skeletons. They all shoot off their ear lasers, which are going out the sides, not at the front, and they kill each other because they're army. All these lasers cutting through the whole army. Dead skeletons. That's
we're like the Mighty Ducks. We fly in a V.
It's like a rugby formation. Yeah.
So again, let me recap. Skeleton, no flesh wounds. I can't bleed out. I can't suffer brain injury. There are many thousands of me, and I have peripheral attacks, and I have distance with large ammunition.
I think the ear lasers are going to be your downfall. I mean, the cannons, that's nothing to sneeze at.
A lot of assumptions from you.
I think a Gatling gun can really make short work of some dusty bones.
You couldn't even, you wouldn't be able to hit. I don't even need to say anything more. I already know.
Andrew, have you come to a conclusion?
I vote for Matt.
I have to vote as well.
Come on.
Matt.
Thank you.
I'm
Got
sorry.
an army of skeletons.
Sorry, Princess.
But shoot laser the side of their heads, not forward. They're all dead.
Flying V.
I thought you had it for sure with the ear lasers getting everybody, and then he pulled the flying V. And
well, he couldn't. They would have done it before they thought of it. They're dumb skeletons. But you know what? I will submit to the judge's wishes.
All right, well, that just leaves me, a Loch Ness monster that was bitten by a radioactive grizzly bear and is riding a nuclear missile. And I'm
all right. So right off the top, I'm going to get things going here. Here's where I'm already at an advantage. You've been bitten by a radioactive grizzly.
Hey,
in no way, shape, or form does this assume that it's been giving you powers in any way. You were already bitten. And radioactive. So the clock is already ticking on you as far as without me even being on the scene, just the sheer plutonium of the radioactiveness, I got no idea, is already withering your abilities. You're vomiting because of this. Not only are you vomiting, you're vomiting into the water that is all around you, which is now clouding your vision and your ability to move. And you're riding a nuclear missile. If you're riding that missile and you want to use that missile on me, we're both dead. So I'm a skeleton. I'm thousands of skeletons. I'm just gonna run away and let you take care of yourself.
So I envision this a little bit differently than maybe you do. I don't quite see it the same. While I would concede the whole, you know what? I'll give you the fact that being bitten by a radioactive grizzly bear does not infer or mean that I have radioactive powers. What I am suggesting to you, though, is, and not to you, but to Lucas and Andrew, is that means that I am now, you know how you get a flu shot and there's a little bit of flu in there so that you're immune, right? To build up the immunity.
You're now immune to radioactive grizzly bears if they ever come back.
Well, what I'm suggesting to you, and what I'm saying is true, is that I got bit by that grizzly bear, and now it doesn't matter that I'm attached to this missile that has, whatever plutonium. I don't know what I'm talking about either. I can ride that thing safely, and I'm Nessie. I'm Nessie on a nuke. I mean, who doesn't want to see that?
Again, so here's the other part.
No, I'm not done. Nessie's not done.
Nessie's done.
Someone tell me the range of the explosion and the impact of a nuclear missile. And what's going to, listen.
You're dead too.
You know what? Hold on. I've got an idea about that. So here's where
you're a sea creature. If you're riding a missile, you're out of the water. The time is ticking on you as far as your ability to be out of the water.
One of the benefits of getting bitten by a radioactive grizzly bear is not only being able to deal with now radioactive stuff, I also can breathe. That's everybody knows that. That's science. And so I'm on this missile coming at you. How much force does it take to pop a bone at a place? Right? I mean, I could swing my kid in a circle and pop his arm out. I haven't, but it's possible. And it happens to people very easily. With not a lot of force, you can dislodge them. So what's going to happen to all your bones when a nuclear missile right down into the middle of you? And what's going to happen is, as Nessie's on this thing, she's got the big flippers, right? Those are going to act as guiding fins to guide this thing at you. This is now a guided missile coming at you from on high. Nessie on the nuke. We're coming down. And what's that? Oh, she sees water. And so she points it, gets the fins, and then Nessie's off. And she lands in the water. She's fine, and you're dead because you get nuked. And Nessie's under the water, which means that, it's just like a fire. When there's a fire, you head to the water and you're safe. Every explosion I've seen in movies tells me that is true. And so what I'm suggesting to you is that Nessie is safe, that blast wave will not affect her. And even if I think maybe scientifically it might travel faster in the water, but she's fine. She's been bit, and you dead.
You've talked a lot.
Time to vote.
All right, yeah, time's up.
You've talked a lot, but you haven't said anything. This is the thing. All right.
He painted a picture.
Yeah, but it was bleak. All right. At the end of the day, there's again one last point. Radioactivity.
Oh.
It does not impact bone material in the same way that it does flesh and fat material. So
judges, you're losing points now for talking more.
Thank you, judges. Anyway. I've said everything I need to say. I don't feel the need.
All right. I think, and this might sound like a cop-out, but I believe in this fight, the Loch Ness Monster would hit you with that nuke, killing everyone. So for me, you both lose, so which means it's going to be up to Andrew unless he thinks the same thing.
I'm gonna have to go with Matt. I think that.
Sorry, we're losing your audio. We're losing you there. Andrew, talk to me.
You heard him loud and clear.
Oh shoot! He learned how to unmute himself. He's sentient.
You heard him loud and clear.
Because I think that Brad's guy is just too volatile. There's too much questions.
There's a lot of moving parts on that.
Happen. And I think that the chances of at least one skeleton surviving, I think there's a good chance of that. That's why I have to go with Matt.
Yeah, just call me Ezekiel.
Dry bones, baby.
Rise up, them dry bones.
All right. Well,
Champion.
Congratulations, Matt. You win.
Thanks, guys.
Matt, I'm just going to toss to you because I got nothing. I'm defeated. Why don't you talk to us about some kind of product recommendation, and then let's get out of this episode.
Okay. Mine actually is this one. It's called the YI security camera.
Okay.
So we it's not. We've had like a ton of like break-ins and all kinds of stuff in our neighborhoods and all around stuff.
This is not the best product recommendation I've ever heard.
Well, if you need it, it's great. And so I was just like, enough of this. And so I went and I found these security cameras. They're called YI. You can find them on Amazon, and they're HD, and they're $100. That's it, and that connects you to the cloud and all that kind of stuff. It's in HD. You can watch it. You can talk through it. You can do the whole thing. I found them to be super, super helpful. I'm trying to bring it up here so you can see it, but it's not happening. But the super helpful, and really cost effective, and it's brought in peace to my family's mind.
Hey,
connect to your Google.
What's that?
Does it connect to Google?
Yes, it does.
Andrew's now ordered 2.
I'm sold. Purchase.
Like we have the Google Nest Hub.
Yeah.
And I can look at it through there.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Matt. Well, listeners, now, guys, Matt, I didn't put you in on the purple here, so I'm not sure if you want to get in anything. But
Sorry.
But Andrew,
hey, look, there's my security camera. Look.
Oh, there it is.
Wow, that's good security.
Andrew, I do have you in here on some red, so thank you, listeners, for taking the last hour and change to spend it with us. And thank you if you're watching this on live stream, which I know at the moment it's literally just us. But if you're watching this later, thanks for watching all the way to completion. And don't forget, listen. Oh boy, I've messed it up, and it's happening live. Fantastic. Thanks, guys, for spending some time with me this evening, and it's been fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did.
You can follow our podcast at Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at Oxford Holy Club, or email oxfordholyclub@gmail.com. Throw up the hashtag OH Club, and of course, we would love a 5-star rating on iTunes so we can help get the word out there. And if you give us one, we'll read it on the air. Oh, did we lose him?
Not me.
What are we doing?
Well, there's some red text, and if I remember the color coordinating properly, red means Andrew.
That ain't me.
Where?
Come on, dishwasher.
My product recommendation?
No, we're doing further, buddy. Follow the notes.
I'm taking. I'm taking it.
There's another page.
Take it, Barber.
Not only that, but now you can. Shut up, Andrew. Not only that, but now you can call into the show and leave us a 1-minute voice message. So click on the link in the description and ask us anything or leave a comment. Unless you tell us otherwise, we'll put you on the show.
Guys, it might surprise you to know that we don't pay to advertise. So any growth that we do get comes from you, and it comes from you sharing us with others. So if you could do that, that would be fantastic. I hope you've enjoyed our unique brand of comedy and actually caring about spiritual life. You know what? But more importantly than everything we've said today, until next time, keep spiritually fit and have fun.
Have fun.
Oh, yeah. Goodbye, live stream.